Welcome! Today we're going to talk about how to incorporate Web 2.0 tools and social media tools into our classroom. My name is Kathleen Sharkey, and I'd like to welcome you to today's session. According to ACE 2020, there are 10 current trends with technology, and they are as follows. Student empowerment. It provides a tidal wave of new and old information. It's meant for participation and allows for communication. Allows for new consumers, allows for collaboration, also innovation, social learning, social networking and media, digital publishing, and accessibility. It's very easy to access anywhere at any time. What is Web 2.0? ACE 2020 writes Web 2.0 are web applications that assist information sharing or collaboration on the internet. Some examples of Web 2.0 tools are wikis, blogs, video sharing, and social networking. What is social media? According to ACE 2020, social media allows for others to share ideas and to demonstrate creativity before an audience. It also connects people. ACE 2020 also describes how a social network is a social structure consisting of people or groups connected by common interests. Some examples of social media include Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and most recently TikTok. I would also consider TikTok probably a Web 2.0 tool as well. Why should we use Web 2.0 in our classroom? We can create activities that involve critical thinking or collaborative learning. It is also a perfect platform for project-based learning to allow students to grow in their problem-solving skills. What type of programs can we use? Here are some common programs to use specifically for mathematics. Flipgrid, MyOpenMath, Khan Academy, Screencast-O-Matic, Delta Math, Pearson, which is currently known as Savas with our textbook, Pear Deck, and Jamboard. So let's take a couple minutes and look at a couple of these examples to see how to use them in our classroom. Here's an example of our first one, Flipgrid. Flipgrid is a great tool to use where students record videos of themselves. They can comment on others. You can comment on them and leave them feedback. I like to use Flipgrid mainly for some silly things, some get-to-know-you activities, and some SEL check-ins. So this is when I did one of the first days of school last year, just having students record themselves to get to know, so I could get to know them, as well as they had to comment on other people's to write something cool back. Another Web 2.0 tool that's really useful is MyOpenMath. Here's an example of an assignment from my Algebra 1 course that you can use in your classroom today for assessments or any sort of a homework assignment. You could do a formative assessment. I also do my summative assessments on here. This was just one of the first days of school where we talked about number sets and closure. So this assignment has 4 questions. Students are able to answer true or false. Let's say they hit false. It will tell them, ooh, you got it right, cool. They can hit get a similar version, so they'll get a new question that's similar. Let's say this time they put true. Oh, cool, they got it right. Let's say they put false. Ooh, boo, it's wrong. So they're allowed to try this as many times as they would like. And there's also video references here that my course team and I work on for students to watch videos to get little extra help. So there's a lot of different types of questions you can ask. The first couple are true or false. This one's selecting the set. This one's matching. So there's a lot of different types of activities you can do with this. Quickly, another Web 2.0 tool is Screencast-O-Matic. That's actually what I'm using right now to create this video. With the past year with the pandemic, I use this all the time to sort of flip my classroom or provide extra videos for kids who needed some intervention or reteaching. This is a great tool to, essentially I upload my videos to YouTube, the kids could see them, and especially working on a course team, which I would totally recommend, is we would split the videos up and make sure that we are all taking turns there. And then finally, Khan Academy here, that's another cool one that I would use at times when I didn't have time to always make a video. There's also different activities you could. There's so many courses if you check this out on Khan Academy. If I go to Algebra 1, I could assign videos, so like I could assign any of these videos. Then there's also practice activities that you can assign to students. You can give them quizzes. So this is an awesome Web 2.0 tool for a quick formative assessment, some intervention time, or even if you wanted to, you could count these for a summative assessment. Some other Web 2.0 tools I use are Savvas Realize, that's working with our textbook, Delta Math, Pear Deck, and Jamboard, just to quickly talk about a couple of these. Savvas Realize, this is a website that's tied directly to my textbook. This used to be Pearson. It's also tied to a program called Math Excel, but essentially students can access the textbook here. There's an e-text, you can assign assignments if I wanted to, so my class this year was GOG. You can track their data, you can look at all the different activities here, which is awesome for a Web 2.0 tool. Delta Math is similar to kind of a MyOpenMath or Khan Academy. You can pick problems and you can assign them to kids to work on there. Jamboard, I've talked about Jamboard a lot in my other modules assignments, but it's in like a virtual whiteboard. It's great for SEL or having kids take turns writing their work. And then finally Pear Deck, this is one I use a ton. If we look here, this is all done through Google Slides. So you create Google Slides, and then this is a silly one. The kids enter in a code over here, which you can see. There's a teacher dashboard. You can see their answers. So this is just a silly one I did. I had kids zoomed in objects. They had to identify what they were just to kind of start class. I've done more mathy ones where they can, label the hypotenuse, the opposite angle, and the adjacent angle. We are a one-to-one school, so I'm fortunate that my students all have a device as well as a stylus until they lose it and they have to get a new one. But for the most part, my students can draw on their computers, which is awesome. As we continue on, what are some social media platforms to use in the classroom? I recommend Instagram for photos to keep parents in the loop of what's going on in the classroom and to communicate with students all their accomplishments. This platform is mainly for photos only. It's a great place for students and parents to leave positive comments on what's going on in the classroom. Next, I would also recommend Twitter. It's a great opportunity for students to build a professional learning network, as well as connect with the community. You can post announcements, photos, and share others' thoughts to bring everyone together. Lastly, I use Remind to communicate important due dates, last-minute announcements, and allow students and parents to text me with questions they may have. It's nice that it's directly tied to their phones and allows for communication to happen more freely and less informally. Just make sure you set boundaries. You should not be expected to answer a Remind text at midnight, because we all know that definitely does happen, so just make sure you have boundaries set. Ultimately, figure out what's best for you and your students. You know your students best. I recommend that you start small and remain consistent, and do not be afraid to crash and burn at times. It can be a lot to try something new, but give it a chance. Our students are way more forgiving than we think, and the learning that can come from this is absolutely amazing. Please direct any of your questions that you may have today to the email listed on this slide. Thank you for your time and participation, and get working. Here's a copy of my references that I used today. Thank you, and have a wonderful day.